With the gameplay demonstration of Tears of the Kingdom releasing, we get to take a deeper dive into everything that we've seen. In this video, we're looking at the UI changes as well as everything that's changed with the minimap. Let's begin. Starting off, we look at the top left-hand side of the demonstration. We can see that Link has 4 hearts instead of where he starts with 3 in Breath of the Wild. As it's unclear what part of the game this is or where he is exactly, we don't know if he's upgraded his hearts or if he starts with 4 in the beginning of the game. So that's something to be speculated. Zooming out again, we look at the whole UI. It looks much more modern. The colors are much more punchy and contrasty, especially when it comes to the white icons. The temperature gauge has changed slightly and it's just brighter and it just looks a little bit better. Everything just looks a little bit more clean and crisp. Going up to the top left, once again, we're looking at the new icons on the D-pad. We can see the 2 normal ones being the shield and the sword for which weapons you want to choose and which shields you want to choose, as well as now a materials button is what we can assume to call it, because in Breath of the Wild that was for the Sheikah Slate and all of the abilities that it had. So with that being gone, we now have the fusion of things like arrows, and maybe it's just quick materials so you can quickly choose them to eat something and regain hearts. Going up just a little bit, now we can see the new abilities icon. These abilities are the Ultra Hand, the Recall ability, the Ascend ability, and of course the Fuse ability that really drastically changes the game. It's held on the left trigger. No word if you can obviously change that, but there were some changes in the settings last time for Breath of the Wild, so we can only assume that we might get some changes as well to swap that around. But when it comes to this icon, we can see that it's dim when Link is riding his horse. I think it's because he doesn't have a weapon in hand why he can't use the Fuse ability, or he may just not be able to use that ability when he's on the horse. Because similarly, when he's climbing and he has the Recall ability equipped, it's not lit up when he's climbing, so he just can't use it. So it goes to show that maybe just when you can't use it, it's unusable, it'll be dimmed, or if you don't have a weapon when it comes to the Fuse ability in hand, you won't be able to fuse anything. Now, when it comes to the meat and potatoes, if you will, we have the minimap. The minimap has the most changes in it and what we could see, and it gives a lot of clues to what's going to be happening in Tears of the Kingdom when it comes to what's around on the terrain. But the minimap has now changed to have latitude, longitude, as well as altitude or elevation. We can see this as when Link is going up with the Recall ability or descending back down to the surface, that he has the number change. Moreover, we can see the color-coded elevation when it comes to the minimap. You can see the lighter patches means higher elevations, as well as the darker ones means that there's something lower. Also, something I noticed that was really interesting was Link never has the map on the surface. When it comes to the beginning of the trailer, he never had the map in the first place, as well as at the end of the trailer, when he goes back down to the surface, there's nothing on the mini map. You can see that there's icons on it at one point, being the stable as well as his horse, but that's about it. I say this to say because when Link's up in the sky or the Sky Islands, I assume that he activated the map somehow, and the way he activated the map would be the new shrine icon, what everybody's assuming to be like the new shrines or something like that, because they're lit up blue. When you look back at Breath of the Wild, when you activate a shrine, if it's not activated, it's orange. If you activate it and don't complete it, it's orange with blue outline. But then when you complete it, it's finally blue. But we know from Breath of the Wild, you can always fast travel to those shrines. So with that being said, the only thing that has made the map light up, because when Link used the Recall ability and landed on one of the Sky Islands, he still didn't have the map, but later in the gameplay demonstration, we see that he has the map, and the only thing there that's changed is the shrine icon being solid blue. As well, this may be like some pseudo, like very light theory. It also could be related to the ranger constructs maybe opening up the map, because the ranger constructs that Link walks by or sees always never aggro him, even though when other enemies are around him, they usually light up with the exclamation point or the question mark if he's near, but the ranger constructs never do anything. I wonder what role they play. Now, speaking of the icons again, when it comes to icons that haven't changed, we have the horse icon, the stable icon, and the shop icon. What's interesting about the shop icon though is from this video little loop, we can see an orb off in the distance. That's generally where the icon for the shop is. So where this icon is, we can see an orb that has somewhat of a dispenser on it. So that may be a hint as to what the new shop is. And right beside the shop icon, there's this little blue dot. To me, I feel like the blue dot is the new marker system. The marker system in Breath of the Wild had similar kind of things, but they were squares, obviously, and they kind of lit up over the map. I think that might just be the new marker icon, and it would make sense to me if you put a marker beside the shop, because that's somewhere you go. In this same still, we're now looking at these little cave-like things. We know they're caves already, but they have check marks on these icons. We're obviously going to assume that you can defeat the caves, or there's something to complete in each one of these caves that makes it have a check mark, so you can kind of like go back to it or know what you've completed. Or maybe there is a chest in these caves, like in Breath of the Wild when you have other caves and little outposts or enemies that have chests in them, that maybe once you get the chest it puts a check mark there. It would make sense to me. Now moving to this still, this probably is the most interesting one of the bunch, because it has the two new icons, one being the new shrine like icon that we discussed earlier, that maybe that's what you activate to fast travel to things or to gain the map. Seeing as now towers are no longer there, or you know what I mean, shrines may not be there either, because there was no shrines at the beginning of the trailer where there's usually a shrine. But right beside it, there's a battery icon. There's a couple of theories going around for the battery icon, but in my opinion, I think it's either where you go and get a battery for these larger vehicles that we see in the gameplay demonstration and in the trailers from before, or it's where you can go to charge your batteries and charge up the things you have. It kind of makes sense. It's a battery charging station, battery station. I guess it makes sense, right? That's the biggest things that's happening with the map now. So that seems to be the biggest changes when it comes to the UI and the mini map. Hopefully we can find out some more things. I'll do a little bit more digging, but I'm going to be doing more digging and more research into other videos for the other changes and new revelations in the gameplay demonstration. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe over on the DJ iTubz channel or the iTubz Games channel, because they'll both be there. Peace.